So in today's video, I'm going to show you a drill that I used with a client who is a high handicap golfer who struggled with driver. Simply using this head cover, we changed the way he delivered driver to pick up over 50 yards and definitely get the ball in play much more often. So I know what you're thinking, that sounds an unbelievable claim, but honestly, this golfer, I've been working with him for a while and his ball flight very, very low, even with his irons. And we've worked really hard on improving that, but driver was kind of the final piece of the puzzle. And a typical one for him was one that came out really, really low. I'm just going to put the shot up here. So we can see a very low flight, not fantastic, and certainly for his club head speed, no real distance. So then I'm going to put up after what had happened and look at the difference now. More club head speed, lots more carry, lots more total, and a slightly different shape of shot as well. So, just to give you a little bit of background on this. So, as he set up to the golf ball, what we tended to see with his irons is he used to get his low point way ahead, keep all the loft off. So we tended to see that quite a lot with driver, that he'd set up, and even if he managed to get the club face square, the low point would be ahead like that. And we can see carry at 195, total at 245, low point nearly 4 inches ahead and club traveling down 3.6 degrees. So what I showed him was if we could change the angle of attack and change where that low point was in the golf swing, we could potentially get him launching the ball much higher. We could see there club head speed fractionally quicker, but 5.2 degrees behind, clubs travelled up 3.4 degrees, carries now at 246 and total at 266. So you see a massive change for him. And we had discussed briefly about how he was going to do it, but what we said, the first thing we wanted him to try was teeing the ball higher. And I've done another video on this, but we said instead of starting his driver right behind the golf ball, we were going to move at least a club length behind, even maybe a little bit more. So it would almost feel that he was setting the club where the low point would be, and that would then get that low point behind, get the club travelling up. But unfortunately, just doing that on its own did actually improve a little bit. So he kind of went from there, still came out a little bit on the low side, but we saw the low point just very, very fractionally ahead. And straight away, we saw a little bit of a pickup, but kind of the rest of the delivery and how the ball went with spin wasn't fantastic. So what we said we were going to do is we're going to put his driver head cover. We actually used mine to begin with because we didn't want to run the risk of damaging his. But we put that the golf ball was, say, there. We said we were probably going to put that a foot in front and then have some practice swings where we're going to start behind but feel like we're going to miss the head cover on the way through. And his first couple of swings, he went through and cleaned the head cover out, not as excessively as I thought he would. But then once he got set and did a few of those, he felt it was very, very easy to miss the head cover. So we popped the ball on the tee, got him to set the driver head back behind the golf ball, and said really his key focus was just to focus on missing the head cover to begin with. And like that one, the accuracy wasn't great to begin with, but we suddenly saw that low point move behind the golf ball, launching the ball a bit higher, keeping a bit of spin off, and straight away we saw a big pickup in distance. Now, it was a funny one though, and you guys comment below if you're somebody that does this, we kind of found that he hit lots of good ones with the head cover there. But once we moved the head cover out the way, because we'd kind of changed the task, he didn't necessarily have a feeling as to how he was going to make that happen. So we then spoke about how with irons, his low point was 10 inches ahead when he first came to see me, so topping it, thinning it. And a really nice feel we had with the irons was that as he was getting into his downswing, he felt that that left hip went back and the leg straightened. And straight away with irons, we saw instead of being excessively ahead, he was only slightly ahead. So he then made the comment that is that something I could potentially do with driver? And I went, absolutely. If you were there, back nicely, starting down, and then got that working, that low point should be further behind, and go from there. So we popped the head cover in place first. And we said, even though the head cover's there, this is just feedback. I don't want you to necessarily focus on missing the head cover, but we just want to get the feel with that left leg and see what it does. So just like John Rahm, get that driver set behind, the ball's forward in the stance, and really focus on that left leg movement. And instantly we saw club head speed maybe go up a tiny bit, but the low point was ridiculously far behind from before. Club obviously travelled up more, the ball launched higher, spun less, and we started to see more and more carry and then more and more distance. Now, obviously then the proof was, could we get rid of head cover? Absolutely. But could we get him focusing on the feeling that he needed to deliver that driver, travelling up, keeping a little bit of loft on it, not completely de-lofting, but keeping some loft on, launching high, spinning low with decent control. So we did a couple of practice swings and definitely felt that he needed to really exaggerate it with driver. So then once he got set, got there, really focused on that left leg. And all of a sudden, from that horrible slicey one, we suddenly saw something that drew. Club head speed was good, ball speed was up, low point was behind, launch was good, spin was fantastic, carry was long, and total was exceptionally good. And he didn't get it right every time, because there is no kind of miracle with anything, but the drill was really good. It gave him a task to work on, but then we had to find a feel that matched what he was trying to do for that. But if you're somebody who hits driver low and feels that you hit down, you might know that you hit down, don't be afraid of getting that head cover a little bit ahead. You know, maybe it can be a foot. You could make it tougher for yourself and get it a little closer. But once you're set, don't be afraid of setting that driver back behind the golf ball. Then you've got to make sure that you miss that head cover on the way through. And if you can get that club traveling up a bit more through impact, you're going to launch the ball better, spin the ball better, hit the ball further, and hopefully with the cherry on top of that, hit it straighter. And I think we'll all agree, we all love longer, straighter drives.